Hey guys, I'm going to make another video here. I'm going to do some Tour 11. Basically just play through some holes. Hopefully try to get some of the par 3s. And just basically take a look at, some of the different ways to play the holes and different winds that you could come across. Stuff like that. Should be relatively easy to get a match here. This is the one tour that, for the most part, I don't have problems actually getting a match. It's actually taking longer than it usually does. It seems like the way that they have their algorithm set up, opponents with similar statistics always match together, and so this is the one tour that basically it's all 4,000 to 5,000 people, so it usually doesn't take very long to get a game. There's a couple ways to play this hole. So one of them is going through here, which I may try to do. One of the other things that I usually almost always use Titans on this tour. Or Kingmakers, either or. I might go up to a Kingsmaker here, more to restrict that wind than anything. So there's always the safe shot here, which I would do with left spin to keep it out of that right rough. But this time I am going to play it over here and try to do a curl shot like this. So, getting it to the right like I just did gave it that little extra hook that it needed to miss that rough and also get over here. The only thing about going for this shot, especially when it's not like really downwind, is it still brings those trees into play on that second shot. So you see I kind of cut it close to being able to get around those trees, especially not having any idea what the wind's going to be like next time. I'm just clueless. I wouldn't recommend doing what this guy's about to do. So if you can't land it on that fairway, which he's going to be very close, I just don't think this is the way to go. I think he's going to be okay as long as he doesn't front spin it into the bunker, which he's close. He got it way closer than. If you're going to hit the shot that he just did, I would do it with less full spin than he did, because he really brought that bunker into play. So I use Tsunami a lot. It doesn't have a lot of ball trail. For the most part, I'm not really too worried about ball trail. I kind of know how 3 bars is going to respond, and this is more or less kind of the distance control that I want. Would be somewhere around here, maybe a little bit more. How much wind to play here? Not really 100% sure, plus I'm rushing. I'll try to just roll with this. I'm gonna overplay it more than I'm gonna underplay it. And you can see I definitely kept it up here on this right side. I'm gonna always favor that right side on this hole. Like, I'd rather underplay that wind than overplay it and wind up down the hill. Where I just put it, it's gonna be a guaranteed make. And the thing that you're going to see me do there, I'm going to hit a dunk shot, because this game, especially on this green, like with this whole tour is kind of like this. It kind of has a goofy green with the way that no matter where you are, it doesn't want to necessarily play 100% consistent. So really putting spin on here, it's really not going to do anything. I'll do it, but it's not going to stop it from going down the hill, but I'm not going to be down the hill, so really it's a moot point. I'm just aiming at the right side, still in the cup, if you can see. I'm playing it right there, hitting a perfect ball. It's going to be fine. It's going to hit the center of the pin. You don't have to leave the hole. For the most part, if you're close like that, you can just keep it inside the hole, even at 14 mile per hour wind, 10 mile per hour wind. It really doesn't matter. With this guy, I'd do the same thing. So he's at the point where there's nothing to lose. So there's two ways to play it. He can either do what he's doing, which I feel like, so he's trying to take out some of the wind, plus sometimes you can shank it a bar and still make it with this. I'm not sure that he has this lined up where he's going to make it, but the other approach is to, yeah, because this hole can be glitchy. You see, he had a perfect ball and he's still not even on the green. So what I would have done is I would have still lined up to do a dunk shot there, because with a perfect ball like he just did, it would roll more. Well, it wouldn't be rolling. First off, I would definitely go for a dunk shot there, even from the rough. Same thing. He wouldn't have had to leave the hole. He would have just had to put it on the right edge. So one of the things, I've talked about this before, if you have a rough shot like that, the trajectory comes out lower, which means you don't have to play as much wind. So say I had a wedge or even a sand shot from there, the trajectory is higher, which means you'll have to play more of the wind. With the rough, if you look at the actual trail, it's real low to the ground, which means it comes in lower. The wind doesn't get affected by it as much. So you can use that to your advantage. And you can actually dunk that. He would have probably had to just put it, he'd have to spin it, put it inside the hole, probably right on the right edge, and then just spin the screen to where it would be, straight. Like you've seen me do in a lot of my videos, where I'll spin it to where the wind's, 100% straight. And that's the way that I would have went about that. So when you get this downwind, I would really recommend doing what this guy's doing, which is just going all for this, no matter what club you have. One of the things a lot of the guys do is they use sniper. So this isn't the best approach for a sniper. This is a better approach for like a big dog or a apocalypse, where you get a little bit extra yards. Because even at 451, like, you can go for the green with almost any wind. With the sniper, you just don't know for certainty that you're going to be able to. So my wind's not nearly as good as this guy's was. So what I'm going to try to do, first off, I'm going to try to play the left here, which is over here. And I'm really going to try to accentuate this hook as well. So not quite great, but close. I'm hoping that I still hold the fairway, and it's down the left side, and that shank calls me. So the reason that I was trying to do what I was trying to do there was to get my ball to as far as his, or possibly farther. Now, this guy might be able to get to the green. So if he can get to the green, okay, that's going to be a little bit harder wind, but he can still do it. So if he pulls this off, he's going to beat me, basically, because I hit the rough because of that shank. It would have held the fairway on a perfect ball, or I'm not saying it would have definitely held it, but what I was trying to do is kind of level the playing field with the way that I just played that shot. Didn't work out for me here. So let's see what this guy does, though, because still, to get the eagle, it's not the easiest thing in the world. As you can see, he still put it in the rough. And I can definitely get a birdie from where I am. So chances are, like, all is still going to be okay. It's not going to, that's not going to be too much of a defining moment to where I'm screwed. So what I'd basically do from here is just lay up. It looks like full ball is going to land over this river, so I might just get a little bit more aggressive here, just because I can. The only thing I have to protect against is I have to avoid making sure I don't hit that tree. So what you're seeing me do here is you're seeing me get a little aggressive, keeping it outside, but I'm also gonna hook it like this. Of course, I got the perfect ball. That's gonna definitely aid me to make sure that I get to this other fairway. But as you can see, I got over the pond here. That's gonna give me a little bit of extra distance. Otherwise, I would have had to do like a backspin shot into that other fairway, which sure, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world either. I still could have hit my 3-wood there. So this guy actually got a pretty easy wind here. Every time it's pointing like this, I'm kind of mad when I miss it. So he got a great ball. Of course, that probably cost him the shot. But nevertheless, I mean, we should be going to extra holes together. So one of the things that I do from here with a long iron, I would say, so since it's into the wind, I'm not going to go beyond 2 or 3 bars of backspin. I'd rather it be running towards the hole. So I'm going to use this as my arrow. It might be a little flat, and it looks like I'm on the shorter side. Yeah, I'm on the shorter side. So I'm going to maybe overplay this a bit, definitely to stay on the safe side. I'm going to at least go here. And I think I even pulled it back even a little shorter than I wanted, so I'm going to accentuate it with a little bit of curl. Yeah, and I was definitely on the short side. You see what I try to do there is I try to add power because I was running out of time and I knew that I didn't play enough wind. So I was trying to add power, and then the shank caused me to go into the bunker there. Not too terribly worried about being in the bunker. I mean, I should still be able to get it from here. And even if I don't, that's fine. Just kind of trying to give you an idea of what you can do here. So one of the things I'm going to just try to, I mean, I could even do this with a couple bars of topspin. I don't like getting over control because I don't really have the best shot. They don't give you the best shot trail with Spitfire. So I'm just kind of going to aim like this. I'm going to try to put my thing in the center. And then concentrate, try to get a great... So the great ball caused me to just lipped out there on the edge. Perfect ball would have been probably center. Great ball on the other side would have missed. So I got a little too aggressive there. Lost that match. It's kind of a stupid thing to do because I didn't have to lose that. Like, I didn't have to hit that shot that I just hit. It was really stupid. It's just kind of like the risk approach. Yeah, I always tend to overplay that wind and just hit it towards the back of the green. But I was running out of time so much talking that I kind of short-winded it. And I could see that I was shorted, so you saw me try to add power to compensate it, but it just wasn't enough because I was at least a ring or two, probably 2 rings short of where I needed to go. But it's okay. This video more is, you know, just about kind of just talking about the shots more so than necessarily needing to execute them. So one of the things that you'll see me here on a win like this, of course, overplay the wind. You're going to want to overplay it, but I'm also going to try to hook it with a slice it. Try to concentrate somewhere, try to get a perfect ball. And one of the reasons that I'll do this is to try to bend it around the corner. So I'm not worried about hitting that right rough if it was to just roll into it. Getting it up here is more important than being in that right rough. So the one place you don't want to go is left here. You want to make sure that no matter what the wind is, so you can see the way his ball was bouncing. See how he has to straighten it out? He had to straighten out his ball trail just by moving it way to the right here. It naturally wants to go left on this hole. That's the only place you don't want to be. So there's certain winds that you'll get that you're just dead. And you never want to be left on this hole. I've gotten out of it being left, but it's just not. If I'm right, say I was right over there in the rough, almost any wind here, I'd still be able to get to the green with my rough iron Nirvana because I have it advanced enough. Where you don't have that luxury. I would have needed this wind if I was in the left rough. So one of the things you're going to see me here, I usually do 5 bars. I'm going to do 6 bars because it's downwind. You could even do 7, but I like to have just a little bit of extra run out. So I'm going to try to make it land right here on the fringe. So you're going to see me do something a little bit like this. And then I'll pull it back here, play about maybe 6 bars or so. And then I'm going to over accentuate. See, I'm not really overdoing it here, but I'm doing a little bit just to get it moving in the right direction. And you see that second bounce, it was just short of where it needed to be. It needed to hit right on that front, and it missed by an inch or two. Because when it hits that fringe, you see it just kills it. So it's the difference between giving it a chance to go in and basically just stopping. So one of the things, if you wanted to negate that, is you could just put less backspin on it and hit a very similar shot. But I considering that you have to get it within like a 1 to 2 yard window, like I don't recommend doing too much for the most part. Like I like to go for it for sure, but it's just not worth it in my idea to basically put yourself in a position where you can't do anything. So you see what happened with this guy is he got in a lot of trouble on that rough, on that right rough, and couldn't get around the tree. So one of the things that you'll see, if you ever are there, what you saw him trying to do is he was trying to move it every which way to where there's actually a spot where it actually goes through the trees. And I'm telling you, you can get over there and there's actually a spot that'll line up where you actually can get through the trees sometimes, which is total crap because I've seen guys get bailed out and then still get the birdie from there. And it kind of annoys you because, you know, they don't deserve to be able to get out of that position. But every now and then, like they will. So that's one of the things that I would encourage would be to do exactly kind of what that guy was doing there, is to just, you know, mess around with the shot as long as possible to try to find some place up there to where you could do it. Other than that, you're going to have to just try to slice it super hard around the trees, which is also a good way to go too. So what's going on now? Okay, so we haven't even got to a par 3, so that's a little deflating. And that's kind of my bad. I didn't have to play that second hole as aggressive and lose that match like that. If I was going to lose that, it should have been in the playoff. That was just stupidity on my part, mainly from talking, because I just wasn't thinking about the shot until it was too late. But anyway, nevertheless, I'm going to try to... I guess this might just end up being a little bit longer video because I do want to get to at least 2 of the par 3s here. I know if you actually search some of my other videos, you can actually find a few of the par 3s. Like I've actually done them on Tour 11 before. So the thing is, it's just nice to have, you know, other wins, other perspectives, because you see, we've already had this hole today, but the way that I'm going to play it next is going to be completely different. I can't even believe this guy's even attempting the shot that he's about to. Do not do what this guy is doing under any circumstance. Like, this shot is just crazy. He might pull it off. I don't think so because I think he underplayed the wind. But man, is that a crazy shot. So if you ever get a win like that, just put a Titan on. No matter what wood you're using, make sure you have at least a Titan. If you don't have the longest driver in the world, I would strongly consider putting on a Kingsmaker here to eliminate another mile or two. Also, you see I put left spin on it, And I'm also I'm adding extra to the left here. I want to really accentuate that this ball does not want to roll into that right rough, because once it gets a little momentum, that's the first thing it's going to want to do, is it's going to roll down that hill towards the water. So you really want to be over here. And you know, I put it safely away from the water. This guy got downwind. That'll help. You should have added a little bit of power there. I would have added at least a couple bars there. I mean, he's using a very accurate iron too. Sand iron. So I would have at least added at least like half extra power there, just to get it down a little bit farther than that. It's going to make things a little bit more challenging. So one of the things that I do here is usually a couple bars up, and I'll play it short. So like right here, I'll usually do like 4 bars of topspin on a neutral wind. So I'm downwind. I'm going to play this a little bit more aggressively, and I'm going to try to do more of this as my landing zone. Obviously keeping it away from the bunkers, as you can see. I'm going to play this wind maybe about 4 or 5 bars, and then I'm just going to play the hook, the slice here. Of course, I got a great ball. Hopefully that doesn't end up affecting me too bad. Yeah, because I always try to cheat it to this right side, because you can see I can just pitch this in every time. So unless I get a wind that's favorable and like conditions that are really favorable, you're just going to see me play kind of safe like that and just over to the right on this hole. It's best to get your birdie. There'll be times that you'll get wind that'll only be 6 or 7. You'll luck into it, and you'll be close to getting to the other side, or you'll be where this guy is. You'll drove it here and then get like a 7. And you can get aggressive. That's the time that I say, you know, go all for it. Kind of like he did. He knew he had to go aggressive there anyway. So you saw he basically just went for it there, because that was basically his only chance to even make it to the playoff hole. So you're going to see me do another dunk here. I'm going to put it right on the inside the hole. I'm not going to leave the hole at any time. You're going to see me do this. And just run it into the bottom of the pin. Make the birdie, win the hole. "15-mile-per-hour wind." You saw how much wind I played there. It was still inside hole. So that just goes to show you that you don't have to get too crazy with the way you do things, especially if you hit it close. Now down the hill, it'll be very similar. If for some reason you're down at the bottom of that hill and want to hit the dunk shot, it's very similar wind play. You don't need to be aggressive and leave the hole, especially going up the hill. So when you're going up the hill, the ball isn't affected by the wind as much because it doesn't leave the ground as high. So you just have to keep it inside the hole. Whether you're on top of the hole where I was, or right of the or left of the hole down at the bottom, the wind is very similar. You don't leave the hole on that dunk shot. And I do not recommend trying to actually make the pitch. The green can be super glitchy, and it tends to go left and you tend to miss left, but then there'll be guys that they'll try to overcorrect for that, and then they'll miss right. So it's like it can be real touchy if you actually go for that pitch up there. And same thing from below the hill. Sometimes you'll land it just right and it'll go in, but then other times it won't take the break because you landed it just over your zone or whatever. It's just not worth the risk. So here, there's 2 shots. So some guys, they'll just, especially on an easy wind like this, but this is downwind, so it tends to overplay. They'll just try to do this, but this is so much wind that I'm not too worried about that shot because I can get it down here. So one of the things you always want to worry about this bunker. So what you're going to see me do is I'm going to overplay for the 8. And then I'm going to right hook it as well, like this, like with a slice. And then I'm going to make sure that it, avoids the bunker. But also I don't want to miss too far left. And that's the reason that I'm doing the right. And it looks like I am going to miss too far left. Not a big deal because I'm down here so far. You see 447. So I want to make sure that if I'm going to make a mistake, it's at 447. It's not at 347. So this guy might actually do this right shot. Yeah, so he is. So watch how this guy does this, because this is also a really popular shot. It's downhill, downwind, so you usually have to overplay it. So you see what he's doing. He's probably doing maybe like 7 or 8 bars, 7 bars to be on the safe side. And what I'm doing, I'm counting those rings there. So he's outside. He's at least outside probably 7 bars here, minimum, for an 8 mile per hour wind. So visualize that bullseye, which is 5 bars. And then he's doing another, if he was to stack it on top of another set of those, then it's another 2 or 3 at least. And you see what he did, perfectly acceptable shot. Now, let's look at where we are. So he's way shorter than I am. I'm much farther, closer towards the hole. So one of the things that you'll see me do here, always full backspin. I usually go this way, which I'm probably going to stick with, but it's going to want to flatten itself because of that wind. So you'll see me do something a little bit more like this as my typical shot. And so one of the things that you'll see me do is I'll overcompensate like this, and then I'll try to play this wind. And this wind, it's going to want to underplay because I'm kind of close. And like I said, the rough shot is a little bit different. The rough shot is a little bit different than, okay, so I'm not getting the backspin because I landed a little bit deep. The rough shot is way different than the sand shot and the wedge shot. It comes in much lower, so you can underplay those winds. As you see, I didn't move, I might have moved maybe like 4 bars if you were counting rings. I might have moved into the clear circle, which is like a black, which is like black, the black ring, which is the one right before the white ring, which for whatever reason, I guess since it's black in color, they just white it out because you wouldn't be able to see shit through black. So it's like that clear ring. I was probably somewhere in there on my aim indicator. And as you can see, even from this angle, this guy had a little bit of a trouble just because it was downwind and everything considered. I'm starting to think we're not even going to get a playoff, which is crazy because 90% of the matches that I play seem to go to tiebreaker. So this is just crazy but I'm not trying to take anything away from this guy. He can just as easily pitch this in. So like a lot of the reasons, I am where I'm at is because I can just pitch this in. I don't usually go for the dunk here, but there's no reason that you can't. You want to keep it inside the hole, so you kind of see what he's doing, and then all you have to do is hit a perfect ball. Which he didn't. So that'll cost him. Not to mention, if you want to play back where he was pulling it back to, it might have been just a tad on the short hitting it too, just a tad. If it was me, I would have brought it back one extra click. Not saying that it necessarily had to be. All right, let's try to do some more Tour 11 here. I'm really hoping for a playoff because, I mean, I haven't even been able to talk about a par 3 yet, which is crazy because almost all the holes that I play end up in tiebreaker on this tour. But I do have other videos that are dedicated towards the par 3s on this. So one of the things that you'll see here, so you cannot get to that second fairway here. I really hope that he does not switch to Berserker, waste a Berserker, and dump it in this bunker. I'm really hoping he decides against this. Okay, there you go. Now one of the things that you'll see is guys go over to the left here. They are not watching me play. Like, this guy must have never played me because I go to the right here. I didn't at first. I'd copy people because everybody was going this way, so I'd just do the same thing until I realized it's so dumb to go this way. It's terrible to go this way. There should be no time that you even consider going this way. And here's why. So when you go this other direction over towards the right when you can't get there, when I get down to the end here, certain winds that are down towards the hole, I can hit that fairway right over this pond here. Not saying we're going to get it here. One of the things that I do is I do right spin as well to keep it from trying to run into this rough. But with 8 miles in the face, if I favor this right side, I should be able to go full ball here. So that's what you're going to kind of see me try to do. Is I'll try to favor the right side, maybe with a little right. Really try to keep it out of that rough because it's going to want to curl, especially once I get to this point. If I would have, you see there's a downslope there, so I was about to run down it. I could have been a little bit more aggressive. One of the things that I'll do here is tighten because it'll accentuate my downwind. So if I would have put a Kingsmaker on, this 15 might be a 13.5. So let's say my next shot, they give me straight down, which it looks like I'm going to be close to being straight downwind. I'm either going to get screwed or I'm going to get hooked up on this next wind, because if you think about where I am in relation to that wind, I'm already pointed downwind. So if I don't get downwind, it's basically robbery. Because this guy, he's downwind and he's not even aiming way left like I'm going to be. I'm basically way right on the hole and I'm going to be pointing myself left. But you see, he did it pretty good, but there's a chance that I can get on the green. If I have a wind that's pointing and it's that strong, like you see, and that's why I'm saying, and look at this, right downwind. I'm in that fairway. And this is why you play this hole this way all the time. So you see how much, I can't even use all that. I'm gonna have to take off 2 bars, I feel. Like I don't know how much to take off, but I'm gonna take off like 2 bars. Because I'm going to be long. One of the things I got to concentrate on is perfect ball here, because you see the target is kind of a narrow window here. And I fucked it up. That is a really bad shot. I hope that stays. Oh no! Even worse. Even worse. So if I would have been on the fringe there, I probably would have made that. Now that I have to putt it, I'm probably in a lot of trouble. So I tried to, stop talking, but I feel like I guilted myself into messing that shot up. So you see, this hole doesn't really have to be that challenging. You could have pulled off the shot that I just did with Big Dog, maybe Guardian 8. you wouldn't get to the green with Guardian 8, but it would be down there respectable. And this guy's just kind of mind blown that I could even get to the green, and that's why it's like you have to go for it and hit it to that right side, because certain winds, I can just bowl this right on the middle of the green. I've almost made this for double eagle. So going right is the way to go. Great ball, that's going to cost me the hole out. So this guy's going to live to see another day. And we're going to play some tiebreaker golf. I'm assuming. One of the things I don't usually do in Tour 11 is, extend matches. There'll be a lot of the other tours that I do, but I don't necessarily in this, especially you saw where I was in league. I'm kind of in like a coin fight, and I want to make sure that I level up here, because for the tournament I want to make sure that, I get up there enough to where I don't have to worry about not making it to the top 15 in my league this week. See, right now I'm at 316 with crap. I mean, I've probably, since we've just in this video, I've probably gone from 216 to 316. So it shows you how much I actually care about winning this division, because I just don't play enough to actually just go ahead and just beast it out every week. Last week I was on vacation, and I think I finished 99th or 100th. Let's keep going. This is going to turn into just a ridiculously long video, because I haven't even played a tiebreaker. I'm going to try to wrap this up. I'm going to try to make sure that I at least tie the next person at minimum, just to make sure that we can at least get a tiebreaker hole here. So I want to make sure that I'm not the reason that we don't, because I was the reason one time that we didn't. But even when I hit it in that bunker, I expect to make it, so that's why I don't mind hitting it in that bunker. If you're looking back at the hole that I messed up, I expect to hit a perfect ball out of that bunker. I do it all the time, and then extend it to the playoff hole. So not doing that is just something that, I'm just not worried about. This guy got a little too aggressive. I cannot believe I've played 2 people on this hole that put it basically on that line. I can play 10 guys, they won't miss this fairway once. And now I've played 2 guys that missed this fairway. So what you're going to see me do, I'm going to do like 7. Okay, so let me go back here real quick. Let's just talk about this for a second. So here's 5 bars, right? And then here's another 2. And this is kind of where I'm going to aim. But I'm going to favor missing left, because I don't want to do what this guy did, which is dump it in the rough. So if I'm going to miss with a great ball, it's going to be on the left, not the right. If you notice, I missed the great ball. I missed with a great ball, but I wanted to make sure that it wasn't an extra shank right to put it in the rough possibly. So I didn't want to get too aggressive there. So that's just kind of like a aiming tutorial for ridiculous wins here. Just in case there's guys out there that they just don't know. They don't understand what 13, 12, or 10 plus mile per hour winds effects, use your bullseye as a guide. That's kind of the best shot advice that I can give, is they give you this shot aid. Take advantage of it. This is the only golf game I've ever played that has a shot aid like this for aiming. So I've been taking full advantage of that. I used to play tons and tons of Tiger Woods back in the day, and none of those games have. So what did you see me do here? So last time I played about 5 or 6 bars. It was downwind. This time into the wind, I'm gonna do 3.5. That's about how much I expect the difference to be. And so I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna play probably at least 6 bars on top of this, 7 bars, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to do a little extra curl. Perfect ball. Looks like I got a little careless with my wind. It looks like the magnitude wasn't bad, but I overplayed it maybe just a tad, just a touch. And then you saw I curled it just a little too much. But nevertheless, on the green, safe, no problems. Again, normally, other tours I might miss this intentionally just so we can actually see some holes, but since I'm really fighting for coins this week, I'm just going to go ahead and, see that through, and I'll just play one more match because it was such a short match and it lasted like 4 minutes. It's better to just take the 20 million. I'm not worried about the physical 20 million that I just won. I'm more worried about that actual money going towards my league. Like I donate $1 billion. Like, that's not a big deal. But what I do want is to make sure that I level up here, so when I win tournament, I get an extra 20% cards, because I'm really worried about, like right now, I really want more cards, especially since I've been finishing lower in these master lever tours. I've been doing a lot of master, and since you can't practice it, I've been having just a lot of trouble actually getting over the hump, because most of what I do comes off of practicing. Not to mention, like, my mindset in the tournament isn't teasing greens. Hit the fairway, hit the green. My mindset is kind of exploring a little bit, so it's like I'm trying to hit certain spots, regardless of if it's the smartest spot in the world. I'm just going to go for it. Okay, so this is good though. Here, you're going to get to see a little bit different shot than I usually play, because the wind's completely different. So I'm going to get a little aggressive. You don't have to do this. You could just hit a normal ball. You don't even have to add power, nothing. You could just go normal ball, full top spin. You'd be good to go here. What I'm going to do is what I like to do on this winds like this that are down. I go full ball, take off some top spin, try to cut the corner. This is just how I play this. Totally unnecessary. You do not have to do what I'm doing at all. And you don't want to run it into that rough back there. So that's why you saw me take off bars. So this guy didn't get hooked up as much as I did. So here you would want to go full everything. If anything, I would maybe take off 1 bar if I was him, and then, just curl it. I would play with that wind at least, so I would aim over from where he is at least 5 bars, which is a full bullseye. which it looks like he went about 6. So perfect. Perfect. Everything he's doing is, perfect. This is exactly the way that I would recommend doing something like that. And you saw he even hooked it. He brought the right rough into play. Not a big deal. I don't know what rough iron he plays with, but if you're right there with Nirvana, Razor, you're gold. It'll still get there on every wind except for straight in the face. So, okay, so let's see if I can get a little aggressive here since I'm down here so far. So one of the things you're going to see me do is I'm going to try to make sure that I hop it onto the green. I'm going to aim kind of here, and I'm going to do kind of the same thing that I've been doing. Which is I'm going to play at least 6 bars probably. I'm a little shorter this time. I'm going to add just a little bit because I'm countering the wind. So I am going to still get a little aggressive with my wind play. Perfect ball. A little too much. But as you can see, that was the time that I could be aggressive, and I was aggressive. So it's like picking and choosing your battles here. Like I know what I could do, and you could see where my landing zone was. It was on the green that time. Plus I played enough hook to make sure that, I really gave that one a go. Like that really could have went in. So same thing here. He just has to mimic my shot a little bit. Use about 6 or 7 bars. He should probably use 7. He has a little bit more wind. He has a little bit longer distance. So he looks pretty good, but he's going to want to make sure that he curls it like me too. Yeah, there you go. He got just a tiny bit aggressive. That's unfortunate. But I'm assuming he's going to make that. If not, this is going to be a very disappointing video for me. I've never in my life on Tour 11 played this many matches that did not go to the par 3. He's super close. He should make this. All he has to do is run it into the... Okay, so he's getting... I would not do it this way. I would do what most guys do, which is like front spin this and just hit this nowhere. If it was me, which is basically try to land it on that fringe and just front spin it, because you'd bring in, even with a shank, you'd still make it. So that's why I'd play it that way. Since he hit perfect ball, it's not going to matter. But it would have gave him margin for error if he would have put a couple bars of front spin and just moved his shot error into the fringe like 4 feet in front of where his ball was. All right, so we're going to play this par 3, I mean. This is one of the ones I really like. So he has an Apocalypse 4. I try to, on this hole, never go more than 2 bars of backspin. Into the wind like this, I will do what he's doing, which is putting top spin on it. So at least 1 bar. I'm probably going to go more than he is. I'm probably going to do 2 bars. And let's see what he does for corrections. He's doing, what's that, like 5, 6. He just went like 6 rings. So there's 5 on his bullseye. He went like an additional 1 past that. And he's a little lazy. You want to get it up a little bit higher than that. It's going to come in a little bit slower, probably be about 6, I'm thinking, 7. Oh, no, it's coming in. It's probably 4 something. So, but he was a little lazy with that. You want it to come in a little bit and take a little bit more slope than that. So I'm going to kind of mimic his a little bit. I'm going to do at least like a bar or 2. And same thing. I'm going to do... First off, I'm going to get a little bit pointed more here maybe. And then I'm going to point it up. Probably like 6 bars. Got a great ball. Not necessarily helping my case. And you see I get mine a little bit deeper. That's actually too deep. I'm actually probably going to lose to this guy. Chances of this staying within 4 is pretty slim. So I missed by basically maybe a yard on my aim. It was just a really, it was a really average shot for me. You want to get it into there, which I wanted to show you how to get it up that slope, because he was really lazy with his, and I should have beat him by going into the slope, but I actually went too much into the slope. So I wanted to, first off, I wanted to make sure that I didn't do what he did, which was go, like basically hit an identical shot. But you see, what we did was like full curl, and you want at least like a bar or two of topspin. You don't have to. You could even go, it's all about your aim. Like, the best advice I can give you for that hole is just sticking with the shot that you want to do. So, if you want to hit that with no topspin, or even a bar, well, that just means you need to land it closer to the rough there, up towards the corner, and you'll still be able to do that. You just want to hit your marks as what you're aiming for. So what happened with my ball is the great ball that I hit pushed it righter than it was going to be. So that foremost caused it to take the slope way more than it was going to. That was probably the difference between me beating him and not beating him, because the chances of me not being inside 4 yards was probably more based on the fact that I just utilized way too much of that slope. So ideally what I try to do is I try to cut that corner a little bit more to where the slope isn't. So I'll land it closer to the, I'll favor the left side, as opposed to what we were doing was favoring the right side. So favoring the left side of where you landed it there would have probably never made me, unless I short hit it or long hit it by like through the green, chances are I wouldn't have been more than 4. But most of the time when I'm playing that hole regularly, I can get it 2-3 yards virtually every time. And what I missed by, my landings, I missed my landing zone by maybe like a yard or 2. Like, we're not even talking a very big target. And that's one of the reasons that tour is so great, is the fact that you can play it, and if you just miss by a yard, like you're gonna lose more times than not. Versus in some of the other tours, there's like similar ways that you can like manipulate the same shot, especially in Tour 10. Like, there's 2 par 3s, those 2 new par 3s where it'll just feed to the hole. It's like you have so much margin of error on those holes, it's just kind of lucky. Whereas in Tour 11, it's all about executing, pulling off the exact win that you want. And then, of course, so I went great ball instead of perfect ball, and it's probably the sole reason I lost there, other than the fact that I went at least 2 yards deeper than I wanted to. So my aim arrow was probably a ring deeper than it needed to be. Or you could argue that I could have just mimicked his wind and just hit my exact same target, and then just shot his, just landed a little bit farther than he did, and we would have, like, I could have just shot copied him, but I just don't like to hit the exact same shot. But anyway, hopefully you can find this video as a Tour 11 guide, and can at least figure out an approach that you want to take on these holes. And, you know, hopefully pull off the shots and lower your scores. So good luck.